Welcome to today's episode of the English Pod community. I'm your host, Blake, and today we're going to talk about something that most of us struggle with: procrastination. If you've ever found yourself putting off important tasks or feeling overwhelmed by all the things you need to do, this episode is for you. We'll explore practical strategies to overcome procrastination, stay productive, and boost your motivation to get things done. But that's not all. By listening to this episode, you'll also improve your English listening skills as we use real-life examples and simple strategies that you can relate to and apply in your own life. As a beginner or intermediate English learner, listening to podcasts like this one is a fantastic way to practice. You'll hear natural conversations, learn new vocabulary, and get a better sense of how English is used in everyday situations. Plus, since we're talking about productivity, you can learn new phrases and expressions that you'll be able to use when talking about your own goals and plans. So, how can we actually stop procrastinating? Well, one of the first things you can do is break down your tasks into smaller, more manageable steps. For example, let's say you have a big project due next week. Instead of thinking, I need to finish this entire project, break it down into smaller tasks like, today I will finish the introduction, or this afternoon I will research the first section. By focusing on one small part at a time, you'll feel less overwhelmed and you'll be more likely to take action. Another helpful strategy is the Pomodoro technique, which involves working in short, focused bursts of time, usually 25 minutes, with a short break in between. It might sound simple, but this method can really help you concentrate and avoid burnout. I used this technique when I had a huge report to write, and it made such a difference. Instead of sitting at my desk for hours and feeling stuck, I worked for 25 minutes, then took a 5-minute break. By the end of the day, I'd made a lot of progress. Setting clear goals is another key to overcoming procrastination. When you set SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, you give yourself a clear direction and a sense of purpose. For example, instead of saying, I need to be more productive, you could say, I will write 500 words for my essay by 3 p.m. today. This makes the task feel more concrete, and it's much easier to stay motivated when you can see your progress. And don't forget to celebrate your small wins. Every time you complete a task, whether it's finishing a section of your project or meeting a deadline, take a moment to recognize your accomplishment. You deserve it. Positive reinforcement is a great way to stay motivated and build momentum. Lastly, keep in mind that procrastination doesn't always come from laziness. Sometimes it's about fear of failure, not knowing where to start, or feeling like the task is too big to handle. But remember, progress is more important than perfection. If you focus on taking small steps forward, you'll get closer to your goal, and you'll feel more confident along the way. So, as you listen to this episode, think about your own goals and how you can apply these strategies to your life. Whether it's for your studies, work, or personal projects, overcoming procrastination is a skill that you can improve with practice. And don't forget, by listening to this podcast, you're also improving your English listening skills. Keep practicing, and soon you'll find that not only are you more productive, but your English will improve too. All right, let's keep going. Now that we've discussed how to overcome procrastination and stay productive, let's dive even deeper into the mindset that can really make a difference in how we approach our work, our goals, and even our everyday. Tasks. One of the biggest challenges when it comes to productivity is staying motivated. Let's face it, we've all had those days when we just can't get started. Maybe it's because the task feels too big, or maybe it's because we're just not in the right mood. So, how do we find the motivation to push through those difficult moments? The key is to focus on your why. Why do you want to complete this task? What's the bigger picture? If you're working on a project at school or at work, think about how completing it will move you closer to your goal, whether it's graduating, getting a promotion, or feeling accomplished. Keeping that why in mind can help you stay motivated, especially when the going gets tough. Let me share a real-life example with you. A friend of mine, Sarah, had a huge exam coming up, and she was struggling to study. She felt overwhelmed by the amount of material and didn't know where to begin. She kept telling herself, "I'll study later." But later never came. After a few days of procrastination, she realized that she was only making the situation worse. So, she took a step back and asked herself, "Why do I need to pass this exam?" The answer was clear. She wanted to finish her degree and start her dream career. With that goal in mind, Sarah broke her studying into smaller, manageable tasks. Instead of thinking, "I need to study everything today," she focused on one chapter at a time. She made a study schedule, and each time she completed a chapter, she felt more confident and closer to her goal. Another important aspect of overcoming procrastination is self-discipline. It's easy to get distracted, especially with so many things demanding our attention, like social media, our phones, or even just a noisy environment. To stay focused, it's important to create a work environment that supports your productivity. This could mean turning off your phone, finding a quiet space, or setting clear boundaries with your friends and family. Let's take the example of Tom. Tom is a freelance graphic designer, and like many freelancers, he struggles with distractions at home. There's always something to do: laundry, cooking, or even just relaxing on the couch. But he realized that in order to be successful and meet deadlines, he needed to create a productive environment. So he set up a dedicated workspace in his apartment. He turned off notifications on his phone and made it clear to his roommates when he needed to focus. By doing this, he found that he could work for longer periods of time without interruptions. Tom also used the Pomodoro technique we mentioned earlier. He would work for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. This method not only helped him stay focused, but also gave him the energy to keep going throughout the day. And when he reached the end of his workday, he could relax and enjoy his evening without feeling guilty about all the things he hadn't done. Now, let's talk about another technique that can really help with productivity: the 2-minute rule. This is a simple concept, but it can have a huge impact. The idea behind the 2-minute rule is that if a task will take you less than 2 minutes to complete, just do it right away. Whether it's replying to an email, putting your dirty dishes in the dishwasher, or organizing your desk, if it can be done in less than 2 minutes, do it now. This not only helps you avoid unnecessary clutter in your day, but also gives you a sense of accomplishment as you check things off your to-do list. It's amazing how quickly small tasks can add up. And before you know it, you'll have crossed off several things from your list without even thinking about it. I remember when I first started using the 2-minute rule, it completely changed my approach to my daily routine. I used to leave small tasks for later, and before I knew it, I was overwhelmed by everything I hadn't done. But by taking care of these little tasks immediately, I found that my day became much more manageable. The 2-minute rule also works well when it comes to studying or working on big projects. Let's say you're staring at a huge research paper or presentation, and you don't know where to start. Instead of thinking about everything at once, break it down into tiny steps. For example, you could start by organizing your notes or writing a quick outline. These small tasks might only take a few minutes, but once you start, it'll be easier to continue working. Speaking of taking small steps, let's talk about how breaking tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks can lead to greater success. We've all heard the saying, "How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time." Well, the same principle applies to your work and your goals. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you look at a big project as a whole. But if you break it down into smaller, more achievable parts, you'll find that you can tackle each one with confidence. Take, for example, my friend Ellie, who wanted to write a novel. She had always dreamed of becoming an author, but the thought of writing an entire book seemed impossible. Instead of stressing about the finished product, Ellie decided to write 500 words a day. It didn't matter if they were perfect, she just needed to write. After a few months, she had completed an entire manuscript. By breaking her goal into smaller, more achievable parts, Ellie was able to turn her dream into a reality. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, that sounds great, but what if I still feel stuck? What if I just can't get started? Well, here's something that might help. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Often, we procrastinate because we're waiting for the right time to start. But guess what? The perfect moment doesn't exist. The best time to start is now. Even if you don't feel ready or confident, starting is half the battle. Once you take that first step, the rest will follow. Just like when I started this podcast, I wasn't sure if anyone would listen or if I'd be any good at it, but I started anyway. And look where we are now. Sometimes you just need to take a leap of faith and trust that things will fall into place as you go. And finally, remember to be kind to yourself. Overcoming procrastination and staying productive is not about perfection. It's about progress. Don't beat yourself up if you slip up or don't get everything done on your to-do list. What matters is that you keep moving forward, even if it's just one small step at a time. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small they may seem, and keep striving to be better tomorrow. By applying the strategies we've talked about today, like breaking tasks into smaller parts, using the Pomodoro technique, setting SMART goals, and focusing on your why when motivation is low, you'll start to see real improvements in your productivity. And not only will you be more productive, but you'll also feel more in control of your time and your goals. As you continue to work on overcoming procrastination and building better habits, don't forget that you're improving your English, listening skills at the same time. The more you listen, the more you learn. So keep practicing, stay motivated, and remember that the road to productivity starts with one small step. Keep it up, and soon you'll see how much you can accomplish. Absolutely. Let's keep pushing forward and dive deeper into some additional strategies that can further enhance your productivity and help you stay on track with your goals. We've already talked about the importance of motivation, self-discipline, and breaking tasks down into smaller chunks. Now, let's take a look at some more techniques that can help you overcome procrastination and boost your productivity even more. One strategy that many people find incredibly helpful is time blocking. This method involves dedicating specific blocks of time to different tasks throughout your day. The idea behind time blocking is that it helps you stay focused on one task at a time and avoids the distractions of multitasking. For example, you might set aside 2 hours in the morning for deep work on a project, then take a short break before tackling emails for 30 minutes. Later in the day, you could schedule time for personal tasks, like exercising or catching up with friends. Time blocking works because it creates a structured approach to your day, allowing you to focus solely on one task during each block of time. This method also helps reduce decision fatigue, which happens when you have to constantly make choices about what to do next. By setting up your day in advance, you remove that decision-making stress and instead follow a clear plan. Let's think about how time blocking can be applied to a real-life scenario. Imagine you have a big project at work that you've been avoiding, and you're feeling overwhelmed. Instead of thinking about everything at once, break your day into different blocks of time. For example, start by dedicating an hour to research. Then schedule 30 minutes for brainstorming ideas, and later, set aside time to outline your project. The benefit of time blocking is that it helps you avoid procrastination by focusing your energy on one task at a time, rather than worrying about everything that needs to be done. Another useful technique that pairs well with time blocking is the idea of setting micro goals. Micro goals are smaller, more specific tasks that you can easily achieve in a short amount of time. Think of them as tiny steps that make larger tasks more manageable. For instance, if you're working on a long-term goal, like writing a book, a micro goal could be as simple as writing 200 words a day. Even though 200 words might seem like a small amount, doing this consistently can add up to a finished book over time. Micro goals work because they make the process of achieving big goals feel less daunting. By focusing on small, manageable tasks, you're more likely to stay motivated and avoid the overwhelming feeling that comes with tackling a huge project. Plus, micro goals allow you to track your progress more easily. Every time you check something off your list, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment, which can motivate you to keep going. Let me share another example with you. A student named Maria had been procrastinating on a research paper due at the end of the semester. She knew the project was important, but the task felt so large that she kept putting it off. Instead of worrying about the entire paper, Maria set micro goals. She broke the project down into smaller tasks, like reading a specific chapter each day, taking notes, and writing a few paragraphs every evening. By breaking the task into smaller steps, Maria was able to complete her research paper well before the deadline and avoid the stress of last-minute work. Another powerful method for improving your productivity is practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you stay present in the moment, which can reduce anxiety and improve focus. When you're mindful, you're not worrying about the past or the future. Instead, you're fully engaged in the task at hand. This can be especially helpful when you're facing tasks that you're procrastinating on because it helps you avoid distractions and stay focused. Mindfulness doesn't necessarily require a lot of time or effort, but it does take practice. You can start by simply taking a few deep breaths before you begin working. Focus on your breath for a few moments to calm your mind and bring your attention back to the present. Another mindfulness practice is doing a quick mental check-in to assess how you're feeling. Are you anxious? Are you distracted? By acknowledging your feelings, you can address them before they become barriers to productivity. There's a great story about a man named David who struggled with procrastination due to anxiety. He found it difficult to get started on projects because he worried about failing. David began using mindfulness techniques, such as deep breathing. and focusing on the present moment before each work session. Over time, he noticed a huge difference in his ability to focus and stay productive. Mindfulness allowed David to reduce his anxiety, which made it easier for him to start and finish his tasks without the usual stress and hesitation. Now, let's talk about something that many people overlook when it comes to productivity: the importance of taking breaks. While it might seem like you need to work non-stop to get things done, research has shown that taking regular breaks can actually improve focus and productivity. When you work for long periods without rest, your brain becomes fatigued, which leads to a decrease in performance. On the other hand, taking short breaks throughout the day allows your brain to recharge, making it easier to stay focused and productive for longer periods of time. One method for taking effective breaks is the Pomodoro technique, which we mentioned earlier. By working in short bursts, usually 25 minutes of work followed by a 5-minute break, you can keep your mind sharp and avoid burnout. During your break, you can do something relaxing, like stretching, grabbing a snack, or going for a quick walk. The key is to give yourself a mental reset, so you can return to your work feeling refreshed and ready to tackle the next task. There's a personal story I'd like to share here. A colleague of mine, Jenna, used to feel guilty whenever she took a break during work. She thought that taking breaks meant she wasn't working hard enough. However, she eventually realized that taking breaks was essential for maintaining her energy levels. By incorporating regular breaks into her workday, Jenna was able to improve her focus and productivity. Now, she feels much more energized and accomplished by the end of her workday. Additionally, when it comes to overcoming procrastination, it's important to build in accountability. Having someone to check in with or share your goals with can provide the extra motivation you need to stay on track. Accountability can come in many forms. Whether it's a friend, family member, or colleague, knowing that someone else is aware of your goals can push you to take action. For instance, I have a friend named Laura who was always putting off her fitness goals. She wanted to get in shape, but could never seem to find the time or motivation to work out. So, she decided to share her fitness goals with a friend who was also looking to improve her health. They agreed to meet for workouts twice a week, and suddenly, Laura was much more motivated to stick to her routine. Having someone to keep her accountable helped her stay on track and made the process more enjoyable. So, whether it's a colleague, a friend, or even a social media group, finding someone to hold you accountable can significantly improve your ability to overcome procrastination and stay productive. It's all about creating a support system that encourages you to take consistent action toward your goals. Absolutely! Let's take a deeper dive into some more advanced techniques that can elevate your productivity game and help you tackle procrastination head-on. Now that we've discussed strategies like time blocking, micro goals, mindfulness, taking breaks, and accountability, let's explore a few other powerful tools and methods that will help you work smarter, not harder. One often overlooked method is visualizing success. It may sound simple, but visualizing your goals can actually be a game changer. When you picture yourself successfully completing a task or achieving a goal, you're essentially preparing your brain to take the necessary steps to get there. Visualization works because it activates the same neural networks in your brain that are involved in actual task execution. By mentally rehearsing your success, you build the confidence and motivation needed to overcome procrastination and take action. Think about it. When you imagine yourself finishing a big project at work, or acing an exam, you're creating a mental roadmap for success. Visualization helps you mentally experience the satisfaction and sense of accomplishment that will come from completing the task, making it easier for you to start and keep going. For example, if you're working on a project, try closing your eyes and picturing yourself handing in your work with a sense of pride. Picture the feeling of relief and success. By focusing on the positive outcomes of completing your tasks, you'll be more likely to overcome procrastination and take action. I remember a client of mine, Sarah, who was working on a business presentation. She had been putting it off for weeks because she felt unsure about her abilities. One day, I encouraged her to practice visualizing herself confidently presenting her ideas to the board. After a few sessions of visualization, Sarah felt more confident and motivated. She got started on her presentation, and when the time came to present, she did so with confidence, impressing her colleagues. This technique of visualizing success gave Sarah the mental push she needed to finally get started. Another excellent technique for overcoming procrastination is the 2-minute rule. This simple rule states that if a task will take 2 minutes or less, do it immediately. Often we put off small tasks because they seem too insignificant to prioritize. However, the 2-minute rule emphasizes the power of quick wins. By knocking out small tasks right away, you build momentum, which can carry you through larger, more complex tasks. The goal is to eliminate the mental clutter that comes with leaving small tasks undone. Additionally, habit stacking is a fantastic way to build momentum and stay productive. This technique involves pairing a new habit you want to develop with an existing habit. For example, if you want to start reading more, you could stack this habit with your morning coffee routine. Every time you make a cup of coffee, you read for 10 minutes afterward. By associating the new habit with something you already do regularly, you make it easier to integrate the new behavior into your daily routine. One individual I know, named David, wanted to get into the habit of exercising more regularly. He was struggling to fit workouts into his busy schedule. So he decided to use habit stacking to solve the problem. David paired his morning workout with brushing his teeth. After brushing his teeth, he would do a 10-minute workout before starting his day. Over time, this small change became a routine, and David was able to stick to his fitness goals without feeling overwhelmed. By using these strategies, time blocking, micro goals, mindfulness, taking breaks, accountability, visualization, the 2-minute rule, environmental changes, gamification, and habit stacking, you can transform the way you work and overcome procrastination for good. The key is to experiment with these methods and find what works best for you. Everyone's productivity style is different, but with practice and consistency, you can unlock your full potential and achieve your goals more efficiently. For instance, if you need to respond to an email, file a document, or make a quick phone call, don't wait. Just do it. These small actions won't take much time, but completing them will give you a sense of accomplishment. More importantly, once you get into the habit of taking immediate action on small tasks, you'll begin to tackle bigger, more challenging tasks with the same mindset. By constantly clearing small tasks off your to-do list, you prevent them from piling up and overwhelming you. There's a great story about a writer named Mark who had been putting off writing a book for years. The reason? He thought he needed to write entire chapters in one go, which felt incredibly daunting. However, after learning about the 2-minute rule, Mark started writing just one paragraph a day, which only took him about 2 minutes. Surprisingly, Those tiny writing sessions added up. Over time, Mark completed the first draft of his book by simply following the 2-minute rule for every writing session. Next, let's talk about the power of environmental changes. Our surroundings can have a huge impact on our ability to focus and stay productive. Often, procrastination occurs because we're distracted by clutter, noise, or a less than ideal work environment. By creating a conducive workspace, you can significantly improve your focus and productivity. This can be as simple as decluttering your desk, turning off your phone, or setting up a space that encourages creativity and concentration. Think about how you feel when you're in a clean, organized space versus a cluttered one. When you're surrounded by chaos, it's much harder to focus and take action. On the other hand, when your workspace is neat and inviting, it's easier to settle into a productive mindset. Even small changes, like lighting a scented candle or adding a plant to your desk, can create a calming atmosphere that encourages focus. One example of this comes from a student named Jake, who found himself constantly distracted by his messy apartment. He struggled to study and often procrastinated because his environment made him feel overwhelmed. After making some changes, like organizing his desk and removing distractions, Jake noticed an immediate improvement in his ability to focus. The clean space gave him the mental clarity he needed to dive into his studies and complete his assignments on time. Environmental changes might seem minor, but they can make a big difference when it comes to overcoming procrastination. Another technique that's been shown to be highly effective is task gamification. Gamifying your work involves turning your tasks into a game by setting up challenges, rewards, or point systems. This method taps into your natural sense of competition and achievement, making it more fun and engaging to complete tasks. By turning productivity into a game, you're more likely to stay motivated and take action, even when faced with tasks you'd rather avoid. For example, you could give yourself points for completing each task, and once you reach a certain number of points, reward yourself with something enjoyable, like a treat or a break. Or you could create a competition between you and a friend or colleague to see who can finish a set of tasks first. By adding an element of fun to your to-do list, you make productivity feel less like a chore and more like a challenge to be conquered. I have a friend named Chloe who used to struggle with completing house chores. She found them boring and would constantly put them off. But after learning about task gamification, Chloe decided to make a game out of it. She set a timer for 20 minutes and challenged herself to clean as much as she could in that time. She gave herself 10 points for each task completed, and when she reached 100 points, she treated herself to a relaxing bath. The gamified approach made cleaning feel less tedious, and Chloe was able to get through her chores much faster than before. Absolutely. Let's dive deeper into more strategies and tools that can help tackle procrastination and build lasting productivity. It's important to remember that overcoming procrastination is a process, and it's okay to try out different methods until you find the ones that work best for you. Let's continue with even more actionable techniques that you can incorporate into your life. One very effective strategy is the power of accountability partners. Sometimes, the best way to stay on track is by having someone else involved in your goal setting and progress. Accountability partners are individuals you trust who check in on your progress and hold you responsible for staying on task. This can be a friend, a family member, a coworker, or even an online community of like-minded individuals. Having someone else keep you accountable can be a great motivator to keep moving forward. especially when you're tempted to procrastinate. For example, let's say you're working on a big project and feel overwhelmed. You could share your goals with an accountability partner and ask them to check in with you regularly. You could also agree to share your progress with them, whether that's through a weekly meeting or just a quick text update. The key is to make sure your partner is supportive and encouraging, rather than judgmental, as this can help keep your motivation high and your procrastination low. I know a person named Olivia who struggled with getting started on writing her thesis. She was so intimidated by the scope of the task that she kept putting it off. After a friend of hers offered to be her accountability partner, Olivia agreed to send her weekly progress updates. Knowing that someone else was expecting her to take action gave her the push she needed to start writing. Slowly, but surely, Olivia made consistent progress and was eventually able to complete her thesis on time. Accountability partners can be a huge asset when it comes to beating procrastination. Another strategy that goes hand in hand with accountability is rewarding yourself for progress. The act of rewarding yourself may seem trivial, but it can actually be a powerful motivator. Whether it's taking a break, treating yourself to your favorite snack, or indulging in an activity you love, rewards act as positive reinforcement. The key is to tie the reward to the completion of a specific task or set of tasks. This creates a system where your brain associates productivity with positive outcomes, making you more motivated to get things done. Take a look at Alex, who's a writer. He had a tough time getting through the early drafts of his latest novel. To combat this, he decided to set small writing goals, such as writing 500 words per day. Whenever he hit his target, Alex rewarded himself by watching an episode of his favorite show. These small rewards gave him the energy to keep writing, and the consistent habit of meeting his daily goal helped him finish the first draft much quicker than he had anticipated. Rewards help build a habit of success, which can be extremely powerful when it comes to staying productive. Now, let's discuss another technique: eliminating distractions. In the modern world, distractions are everywhere, whether it's social media, email notifications, or just a noisy environment. These distractions can easily lead to procrastination, as they steal your attention and make it harder to focus on the task at hand. One of the most effective ways to combat procrastination is by creating a distraction-free environment. This can mean silencing your phone, using apps that block distracting websites, or working in a quiet space where you're unlikely to be interrupted. I remember speaking with a student named Michael who was studying for a major exam. Every time he sat down to study, he found himself checking his phone or browsing the internet. To fix this, Michael decided to turn off his phone and use a website blocker app that restricted access to social media during his study sessions. By eliminating the distractions, Michael was able to focus better and get more done in less time. If you often find yourself distracted, setting up a controlled environment where your attention is fully focused on the task can make all the difference. You can also take advantage of tools and apps that help you maintain focus. Pomodoro timers are a popular technique that divides work into intervals, typically 25 minutes of focused work followed by a 5-minute break. This method helps to prevent burnout and encourages short bursts of productivity. After a set of 4 intervals, you take a longer break. The Pomodoro technique helps you maintain sustained focus while still allowing for regular rest periods, which is essential to avoid procrastination. By using these timers, you can easily track your work time and ensure you're staying productive. Consider Sarah, an artist who was struggling to complete her latest painting. She had been putting off working on it because she was distracted by other tasks and social media. After learning about the Pomodoro technique, Sarah decided to use a timer to focus on her art for 25 minutes at a time. She found that breaking up her work into manageable chunks helped her stay engaged with the painting, and the short breaks allowed her to refresh and keep going. With this approach, Sarah was able to finish her artwork faster and with more focus. Let's move on to another productivity booster, learning to say no. This might sound simple, but it's a game changer when it comes to staying productive. Often we procrastinate because we're overwhelmed by commitments or tasks that aren't really aligned with our goals. Learning to say no is important because it allows you to prioritize your most important tasks and avoid getting sidetracked by things that don't matter as much. By saying no to distractions, unnecessary meetings, or tasks that don't serve your primary goals, you free up time and mental energy to focus on what really matters. Take Emma, for example. She had been overcommitting herself to volunteer activities and social events, leaving her with little time to focus on her work. As a result, she found herself constantly procrastinating on her professional projects. Once she realized the need to say no to some of her extracurricular activities, she was able to free up more time for her work. Saying no isn't about being selfish. It's about setting boundaries that allow you to stay focused and be more productive. Along the same lines, knowing your peak hours can be a key factor in overcoming procrastination. Everyone has times of day when they feel the most energetic and focused. These are your peak hours. For many people, this might be in the morning after a good night's sleep, but for others, it could be in the afternoon or late at night. By identifying your peak hours and scheduling your most important tasks during that time, you can ensure that you're tackling your most challenging tasks when you're at your best. This minimizes the temptation to procrastinate because you're working during the times when you have the most focus and energy. For example, Tom used to struggle with writing reports because he wasn't a morning person. He found himself procrastinating because he felt tired and unfocused early in the day. After realizing that he was much sharper in the late afternoon, Tom started scheduling his most demanding tasks for that time. As a result, he was able to get his work done faster and more efficiently, without the usual struggle of procrastination. Understanding your natural rhythms and working in sync with them can make a huge difference in how you approach tasks. Finally, one of the most powerful strategies for overcoming procrastination is self-compassion. Often, we procrastinate because we fear failure or worry that we won't do something perfectly. This fear can cause us to avoid starting tasks altogether. Instead of being hard on yourself, practice self-compassion by accepting that you don't have to be perfect, and it's okay to make mistakes. Self-compassion allows you to move forward without the pressure of perfectionism, which can paralyze you and keep you stuck in a cycle of procrastination. When you treat yourself with kindness and understanding, you give yourself permission to start and make progress, even if things aren't flawless. Let's delve even further into this topic of overcoming procrastination and boosting productivity. As we continue to explore practical strategies and mindset shifts, I want to emphasize that procrastination is a challenge that many people face at various points in their lives. But with the right tools and techniques, you can train your mind to focus and remain productive, even in the face of distractions and resistance. So, let's keep going and break down even more tips to help you stay on track. First, let's take a closer look at the importance of setting clear, specific goals. One of the most common reasons people procrastinate is because they don't have a clear idea of what they need to accomplish. A vague goal like, I need to get more work done, is too broad and doesn't provide clear direction. Instead, try breaking down your big tasks into specific, manageable steps. For example, instead of saying, I need to finish this project, break it down into smaller tasks, such as write the introduction, create an outline, or research topic X. This makes the process less overwhelming and gives you a clear plan of action. Let's take Rachel's story as an example. She was working on a business proposal that seemed too big to tackle, so she kept postponing it. When Rachel decided to break the project down into smaller tasks, she made a list of all the steps involved, such as researching the market, writing the proposal, and designing the presentation slides. By focusing on one task at a time, she felt much more in control and less overwhelmed, which made her much more productive. Setting clear goals can reduce procrastination by helping you stay organized and focused on the immediate steps rather than the daunting big picture. Another technique that can help you tackle procrastination is to practice the 2-minute rule. This simple rule is based on the idea that if a task can be completed in 2 minutes or less, you should do it immediately. The 2-minute rule is effective because it eliminates the mental burden of tasks that you keep putting off. Instead of overthinking small tasks, you simply get them done right away. For instance, if you need to reply to an email or take out the trash, don't put it off. Do it in 2 minutes or less. By taking action immediately, you prevent procrastination from building up and overwhelming you later. Let's consider John's experience with this strategy. He was always putting off small administrative tasks at work, such as responding to emails and organizing his desk. One day, he decided to apply the 2-minute rule. Every time he received an email or had a small task to handle, he completed it right away if it took less than 2 minutes. This simple habit freed up his mind and made him feel more productive, as he no longer had a long list of small, nagging tasks hanging over him. The 2-minute rule is an easy and effective way to overcome procrastination and increase your productivity. In addition to the 2-minute rule, you can also benefit from creating deadlines for yourself. While external deadlines can help keep you on track, creating your own deadlines for personal projects is just as important. Setting self-imposed deadlines helps create a sense of urgency and encourages you to take action. If you find it difficult to stay on schedule, consider using tools like calendars, task management apps, or planners to set clear dates for when you need to complete tasks. Having a visible deadline can help you push through procrastination and get things done on time. Let's take Sarah again as an example. She was working on a website for her small business, but she kept procrastinating because she didn't have a clear deadline. Sarah decided to set a deadline for herself. I will complete the homepage of my website by Friday at 5 p.m. With this goal in mind, she began working in focused bursts and made consistent progress. Having that deadline created a sense of urgency and helped Sarah stay on task. By setting clear deadlines, you're more likely to avoid procrastination and increase your efficiency. Another tactic to prevent procrastination is eliminating the feeling of overwhelm. When you look at a big task, it's easy to feel like you're not capable of completing it, and that can lead to procrastination. However, breaking the task into smaller, more manageable chunks helps you avoid this feeling. The key is to focus on taking small steps rather than trying to accomplish everything all at once. Each time you complete a small part of the task, you'll feel a sense of achievement, which motivates you to keep going. For example, Thomas had a huge presentation to give at work, but he was feeling overwhelmed by the amount of preparation it would take. Instead of trying to prepare everything at once, he divided the process into smaller tasks, such as creating an outline, gathering data, designing slides, and practicing his speech. As Thomas checked off each task, he felt more confident and less overwhelmed. Breaking tasks down into smaller chunks can help you avoid procrastination and maintain momentum. Additionally, practicing mindfulness can be a powerful tool to manage procrastination. Often, procrastination is linked to stress and anxiety, especially when we feel that a task is too difficult or unpleasant. Practicing mindfulness involves being present in the moment and observing your thoughts without judgment. By focusing on the task at hand, rather than worrying about the potential outcomes or the tasks you haven't done yet, you can reduce anxiety and stay focused on completing your work. Mindfulness can help you stay calm and centered, which makes it easier to overcome procrastination. Let's consider Emily, who was always putting off starting her projects because she was anxious about making mistakes. Emily began practicing mindfulness by taking a few deep breaths before starting her work and focusing on the present moment. Instead of stressing about the potential problems that could arise, she simply focused on the task at hand. This shift in mindset helped Emily feel more relaxed and motivated to start working, which helped her beat procrastination and finish her projects on time. Taking breaks is another important strategy for overcoming procrastination. It might seem counterintuitive, but giving yourself permission to take regular breaks can actually boost your productivity. When you're working for long periods without a break, you can experience mental fatigue and burnout, which often leads to procrastination. By taking short breaks throughout your workday, you give your mind the chance to rest and recharge, so you're more focused when you return to your task. For instance, if you're working on a long report, you could take a 5 to 10 minute break after every 45 minutes of work. This break can involve stretching, walking around, or simply stepping away from your workspace. Breaks help you refresh your mind, reduce stress, and prevent burnout, making it easier to stay productive. The key is to find a balance between work and rest, so you can avoid procrastination and continue making progress on your goals. By using these strategies, you'll be better equipped to overcome procrastination and boost your productivity. Remember that productivity is a habit, not a one-time fix. The more you practice these techniques, the easier it will become to stay on track and accomplish your goals. Let's dive even deeper into this important topic of overcoming procrastination and building lasting habits that promote productivity. Procrastination is a behavior rooted in our psychology, and understanding it on a deeper level allows us to address it more effectively. Today, I want to guide you through some comprehensive strategies, share examples, and discuss techniques that can help you master your time and achieve your goals with clarity and confidence. These are principles that anyone can apply to their daily lives, no matter the tasks or challenges ahead. To begin, let's talk about the importance of creating a structured routine. A routine is a powerful tool because it builds consistency and eliminates the need to make too many decisions throughout your day. Often, procrastination stems from decision fatigue, when we have too many choices and end up avoiding making any choice at all. By establishing a clear routine, you remove that obstacle entirely. For instance, you could set specific times each day for certain tasks, like starting work at 9:02 a.m., taking a break at 11:00 a.m., and reviewing your goals at 4 p.m. When these Activities become habits. You no longer have to think about whether or not to do them. They simply become part of your day. Let me share an example. Sophie, a writer, struggled with procrastinating on her book. Every day she told herself she'd write later, but later never came. She decided to create a routine where she'd wake up at 7 a.m., have her coffee, and write for 2 hours before doing anything else. By committing to this routine, Sophie found it much easier to stay productive because her writing became a non-negotiable part of her day. Over time, this structure allowed her to complete her book without the stress of procrastination. Another essential concept to explore is building self-awareness about why you procrastinate. It's important to ask yourself, what's really holding you back? Are you procrastinating because you're afraid of failure? Because you're overwhelmed by the size of the task? Or because you're simply not interested in the task? Once you identify the root cause, you can take targeted steps to address it. For example, if fear of failure is the issue, remind yourself that mistakes are part of the learning process and that perfection isn't necessary. If the task feels too big, break it down into smaller, manageable pieces, as we discussed earlier. Let's look at Mark's story. He avoided working on his university assignments because he felt they were too challenging and didn't know where to start. After reflecting, Mark realized that his fear of not doing the assignments perfectly was paralyzing him. To overcome this, he started with the easiest part of the assignment first, like outlining his main points. This gave him momentum, and once he got started, the rest didn't feel as intimidating. Building self-awareness helped Mark not only address his procrastination, but also build confidence in his abilities. Next, let's discuss the role of accountability. When you're the only one holding yourself accountable, it's easy to let procrastination take over. But when you involve others, whether it's a friend, a family member, or a mentor, you create an additional layer of responsibility. Accountability partners can check in on your progress, provide encouragement, and help you stay on track. For instance, if you're trying to complete a big project, you could schedule weekly check-ins with a colleague or friend where you share updates on your progress. Knowing that someone else is expecting you to deliver can be a powerful motivator. Peite. Great example of this is Priya, who wanted to learn a new language but kept procrastinating on her practice sessions. She joined a language learning group where members shared their progress every week. The group provided her with a sense of accountability and support, which made her much more consistent in her efforts. With the encouragement of her group, Priya stayed motivated and improved her language skills significantly. Accountability is a simple yet effective way to overcome procrastination and stay focused on your goals. Now, let's move on to using rewards as a motivator. Rewarding yourself for completing tasks, especially difficult ones, can help you build positive associations with productivity. These rewards don't have to be big. They just need to feel meaningful to you. For example, you could treat yourself to a favorite snack after finishing a challenging report, or allow yourself 30 minutes of your favorite TV show after a productive work session. By pairing hard work with something enjoyable, you train your brain to see productivity as a positive experience rather than a chore. Consider Clara, a student who struggled with studying for long hours. She decided to implement a reward system where she'd take a 15-minute break to listen to her favorite music playlist every time she completed an hour of studying. This small reward made studying feel less daunting, and Clara found herself looking forward to each study session. Over time, this simple habit helped her maintain her focus and achieve better results. Another crucial strategy for beating procrastination is learning to manage distractions. In today's world, we're constantly surrounded by potential distractions. Social, media, notifications, emails, and more. These distractions can derail your focus and lead to procrastination if you're not careful. To stay productive, it's important to create an environment that minimizes distractions. This could mean putting your phone on silent mode, working in a quiet space, or using apps that block distracting websites during your work hours. Take Ben's story, for example. He was trying to finish a report, but kept getting distracted by social media. Ben decided to use a website blocker app that prevented him from accessing social media while he worked. He also started using a timer to work in focused intervals, followed by short breaks. By eliminating distractions and creating a focused work environment, Ben was able to complete his report much faster and with better quality. Managing distractions is a key part of overcoming procrastination and staying productive. Lastly, let's touch on the importance of celebrating progress. Often, we focus so much on the end goal that we forget to acknowledge the steps we've already taken. Celebrating small wins along the way can boost your motivation and remind you of how far you've come. Whether it's completing the first draft of a project, mastering a new skill, or simply showing up and getting started, every step forward is worth celebrating. Reflecting on your progress can help you maintain a positive mindset and keep procrastination at bay. Take Julia, for example. She was working on a fitness goal but felt discouraged by how long it would take to reach her ideal weight. Instead of focusing solely on the end goal, Julia decided to celebrate small victories, like completing a week of workouts or trying a new healthy recipe. These small celebrations kept her motivated and helped her stay consistent with her fitness routine. Remember, progress is progress, no matter how small, and acknowledging it can help you stay on track. By applying these strategies, structuring your routine, building self-awareness, leveraging accountability, using rewards, managing distractions, and celebrating progress, you can develop habits that combat procrastination and promote long-term productivity. Keep in mind that change takes time, and it's okay to start small. Each step you take brings you closer to your goals and helps you build the life you want. Let's dive even deeper into actionable methods next. Let's take a more detailed dive into this concept of overcoming procrastination and staying productive by looking at actionable strategies, real-life examples, and how you can apply them in different areas of life. Procrastination can feel like an overwhelming barrier, but when you break it down and address it step by step, it becomes manageable. This segment is all about empowering you to take charge of your time and your life by providing tools you can start using immediately. Understanding the root causes of procrastination. Procrastination isn't just about being lazy or unmotivated. It's often a symptom of deeper issues. These could include fear of failure, perfectionism, lack of clarity about tasks, or even feeling overwhelmed by the sheer size of what you need to do. For example, if you have a large project at work, you might delay starting because it feels too big, or you're worried it won't turn out perfectly. The first step in overcoming procrastination is identifying why you're putting things off. Once you know the root cause, you can address it more effectively. Let's consider an example. Maria, a marketing professional, found herself delaying the launch of a new campaign. After reflecting, she realized that her fear of criticism from colleagues was holding her back. To overcome this, she started small by sharing her initial ideas with a trusted coworker for feedback. This helped her build confidence and move forward with the campaign. The takeaway here is to ask yourself, why am I procrastinating? When you have the answer, you can tackle the problem head on. The power of breaking tasks into smaller steps. One of the most effective ways to combat procrastination is to break large tasks into smaller, more manageable steps. When you look at a big task as a series of smaller actions, it becomes less intimidating. For example, if you need to write a research paper, start with smaller steps like brainstorming topics, creating an outline, and writing the introduction. Each small step you complete builds momentum, making the entire task feel more achievable. Think about Jake, a university student who needed to write a 10-page essay. The thought of writing 10 pages felt overwhelming, so he procrastinated for weeks. But then he broke the essay into smaller parts: research, drafting, editing, and finalizing, and set a goal to complete just one section each day. By focusing on smaller steps, Jake not only finished his essay on time, but also found the process less stressful. This approach works because it shifts your focus from the intimidating big picture to manageable tasks that you can tackle one at a time, setting clear and achievable goals. Another critical strategy for overcoming procrastination is setting clear and achievable goals. When your goals are vague or too ambitious, it's easy to lose motivation or feel overwhelmed. Instead, use the SMART framework. Make your goals specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. For example, instead of saying, "I want to get fit," set a goal like, "I will exercise for 30 minutes, 5 days a week for the next month." Clear goals give you direction and a sense of purpose, making it easier to stay on track. Let's take Sarah, a teacher who wanted to improve her classroom management skills. Her initial goal was simply to get better at managing her class. But she found it hard to make progress because the goal was too broad. She refined her goal to, "I will implement one new classroom management strategy each week and evaluate its effectiveness." This clarity helped her stay focused and measure her progress. When you set clear goals, you create a roadmap that guides you towards success. Creating a supportive environment. Your environment plays a significant role in your ability to stay productive. A cluttered or noisy workspace can make it difficult to focus, leading to procrastination. To overcome this, create an environment that supports your goals. This could mean organizing your desk, setting up a dedicated workspace, or even using tools like noise-canceling headphones to block out distractions. The key is to eliminate as many barriers to productivity as possible. For instance, Alex, a graphic designer, found it hard to concentrate because his workspace was cluttered with unfinished projects and personal items. He took a weekend to declutter his desk, organize his files, and set up a system for managing his tasks. The result? Alex felt more focused and less stressed, which helped him complete his projects on time. A supportive environment doesn't just make it easier to work. It also boosts your motivation and confidence. Building healthy habits. Habits are the building blocks of productivity. When you develop habits that align with your goals, you reduce the mental effort required to stay productive. Start by identifying 1 or 2 small habits you can incorporate into your daily routine. For example, if you want to write every day, set a specific time for writing and stick to it. Over time, this habit will become second nature. making it easier to stay consistent. Take Emma, for example. She wanted to read more, but often procrastinated because she felt too tired at the end of the day. Instead of trying to read for an hour every night, Emma started with just 10 minutes before bed. As the habit became part of her routine, she gradually increased her reading time. By starting small and being consistent, Emma was able to build a habit that aligned with her goal. Overcoming fear of failure. Fear of failure is a common reason for procrastination. Many people delay starting tasks because they're afraid they won't do them well. If this sounds familiar, remember that failure is a natural part of the learning process. Instead of aiming for perfection, focus on making progress. Celebrate your efforts, even if the results aren't perfect. This mindset shift can help you move past the fear of failure and take action. Consider Daniel, an entrepreneur who hesitated to launch his startup because he was worried it wouldn't succeed. He decided to focus on small wins, like getting feedback on his product from friends and family. This helped him build confidence and make improvements. Eventually, he launched his startup and found that even the mistakes he made along the way were valuable learning experiences. The key is to see failure as an opportunity for growth rather than a setback, using tools and techniques to stay on track. There are countless tools and techniques you can use to boost your productivity and overcome procrastination. For example, the Pomodoro technique involves working in focused intervals, followed by short breaks. This method helps you stay focused and prevents burnout. Similarly, productivity apps like Trello or Notion can help you organize your tasks and track your progress. Let's talk about Lily, a software developer who struggled to manage her workload. She started using a task management app to organize her projects and prioritize her tasks. She also implemented the Pomodoro technique, working in 25-minute intervals with 5-minute breaks. These simple tools transformed her workflow, making her more productive and less stressed. Experiment with different tools and techniques to find what works best for you. By combining these strategies, breaking tasks into smaller steps, setting clear goals, creating a supportive environment, building healthy habits, overcoming fear of failure, and using productivity tools, you can tackle procrastination and achieve your goals with confidence. Let's explore even more advanced strategies and insights to deepen your understanding and effectiveness. Let's delve even deeper into these strategies and expand on the ways you can implement them in your daily life. Procrastination is a challenge we all face at some point, but understanding it on a deeper level and having a detailed plan to combat it can truly transform your approach to productivity. So, let's explore how to integrate these strategies in a way that feels both actionable and natural, creating lasting change in your habits and mindset. Understanding procrastination on a deeper level at its core. Procrastination often stems from an emotional disconnect. It isn't about laziness, it's about avoiding discomfort. Maybe the task feels boring, overwhelming, or even anxiety-inducing. For example, have you ever postponed answering an important email, not because it would take a long time, but because you were worried about how to phrase your response? That hesitation is rooted in emotional resistance. Take a moment to reflect on a time you procrastinated. What were you feeling in that moment? Was it fear, uncertainty, or even self-doubt? Acknowledging these feelings is the first step to overcoming them. Let's say you need to give a presentation at work. The thought of standing in front of your colleagues might feel intimidating. leading you to procrastinate on preparing your slides. However, by identifying the root cause, fear of judgment, you can address it directly, perhaps by practicing in front of a friend or focusing on the value of your message rather than worrying about perfection. Breaking the cycle. Tackling small wins. When faced with a daunting task, the natural tendency is to avoid it altogether. However, breaking it down into smaller, more manageable chunks can make a world of difference. Psychologically, every small win releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical in your brain. This creates a positive feedback loop, encouraging you to keep going. For instance, imagine you're writing a report for work. The thought of completing the entire report might feel overwhelming, but what if you start by simply jotting down the key points? Then you expand on one point at a time. Each small step, like finishing the introduction or drafting the conclusion, gives you a sense of accomplishment and reduces the mental load. To make this even more practical, create a checklist for the task. For example, instead of writing complete project, break it down into actionable steps like research the topic, create an outline, write the first draft, edit and refine the content, finalize and submit the project. Each time you tick off an item on the list, you'll feel a surge of motivation to tackle the next step. The science of goal setting, setting clear and actionable goals isn't just a good idea. It's backed by science. Studies show that people who set specific, measurable goals are significantly more likely to achieve them compared to those with vague intentions. The reason? Clear goals provide a roadmap, making it easier to focus your energy and track your progress. Let's use an example. Suppose you want to learn a new language. Instead of saying, "I want to become fluent in Spanish," break it down into specific goals like learn 10 new words each day, practice speaking for 15 minutes every evening, complete one lesson on a language app every morning. By setting small, realistic goals, you'll not only make steady progress, but also feel a sense of accomplishment along the way. And remember, goals should be flexible. If life gets in the way and you miss a day, don't beat yourself up, just pick up where you left off. Building a supportive environment for success. Your environment can either support or sabotage your productivity. A cluttered workspace, constant interruptions, or even the wrong lighting can hinder your ability to focus. On the other hand, a clean, organized, and distraction-free environment can set the stage for success. Imagine a student trying to study for an important exam. If their desk is piled high with papers, snacks, and random knickknacks, it's no wonder they struggle to concentrate. By decluttering their space, setting up a comfortable chair, and placing only the necessary materials within reach, they create an environment that fosters focus and efficiency. But a supportive environment isn't just about the physical space. It's also about the people around you. Surround yourself with individuals who inspire and motivate you. If you're trying to stay productive, spending time with like-minded friends who value hard work and discipline can make a huge difference. The role of habits in sustained productivity habits are the backbone of productivity. When you turn productive actions into habits, they become automatic, requiring less mental effort. For example, if you want to start exercising regularly, the first few weeks might feel challenging. But once it becomes a habit, you'll find yourself lacing up your running shoes without a second thought. To build a habit, start small and be consistent. Let's say you want to read more books. Instead of setting an ambitious goal of reading an entire book each week, commit to reading just 1 page a day. Over time, as the habit takes root, you can gradually increase the amount. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, emphasizes the importance of identity-based habits. Instead of focusing solely on the outcome, align your habits with the person you want to become. For instance, instead of saying, "I want to write more," tell yourself, "I am a writer." This subtle shift in mindset can have a profound impact on your behavior. Overcoming the fear of failure. Fear of failure is one of the most common reasons people procrastinate. The thought of trying and not succeeding can be paralyzing. However, failure is an essential part of growth. Every successful person has faced setbacks along the way. It's how they learned and improved. Consider Thomas Edison, who famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each failure brought him closer to success because he viewed them as learning opportunities rather than defeats. If fear of failure is holding you back, try reframing your perspective. Instead of focusing on the possibility of failure, focus on the potential for growth and improvement. And remember, perfection isn't the goal. Progress is. The importance of time blocking. Time blocking is a powerful technique for managing your day and staying productive. By allocating specific blocks of time to different tasks, you create a structured schedule that minimizes procrastination. For example, you might dedicate 9 kaus till 11 a.m. to answering emails, 10 kaus 11:30 a.m. to working on a project, and so on. The beauty of time blocking is that it forces you to prioritize your tasks. Instead of reacting to whatever comes your way, you take control of your day. And by setting clear boundaries for each task, you're less likely to get distracted or lose track of time. To make time blocking even more effective, include buffer periods between tasks. These short breaks allow you to recharge and transition smoothly from one activity to the next. For instance, after an intense work session, take a 10-minute walk or stretch to refresh your mind. Leveraging technology to stay on track in today's digital age, there are countless tools and apps designed to boost productivity and combat procrastination. From task managers like Todoist and Asana to focus-enhancing apps like Forest and Freedom, there's no shortage of resources to help you stay organized and on track. For example, if you struggle with distractions from your phone, apps like Freedom can block social media and other time-wasting websites during your work hours. Similarly, tools like Notion can help you plan your day, track your goals, and organize your projects all in one place. By combining these tools with the strategies we've discussed, you can create a productivity system that's tailored to your needs and goals. Let's explore even more ways to optimize your time and energy, ensuring that procrastination becomes a thing of the past. To wrap up, remember that overcoming procrastination and staying productive isn't about being perfect. It's about making consistent, small changes that lead to big results over time. Whether it's breaking tasks into smaller steps, setting clear goals, or building supportive habits, you have the tools to take control of your time and boost your productivity. Thank you for joining me today. I hope these strategies inspire you to tackle your challenges and make the most of your day. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with more episodes. Let's continue learning and growing together. Until next time, stay productive and take care.